Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday morning. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day so far. Great work week as always. We're going to talk about the weather specifically for today. There is a threat for severe weather for portions of the country, the Ohio Valley areas like Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, even areas of Virginia and Kentucky. So that's what we're really going to focus in on this video, but we're going to talk about the entire lower 48 as we always do in the morning videos for you guys. So I want to remind y'all, today is probably going to be the more quieter day technically out of the next 3 days. Tomorrow is going to be very active again in the severe weather category of weather here. And then Thursday will be also very active for portions of the Deep South. Again, we haven't talked about the Deep South and severe weather in a couple weeks. It's been kind of quiet as the severe weather threat in general starts to shift a little bit more north as we get later into the spring and summer. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Appreciate the amazing support, I really do. And more importantly, if you guys got anything that I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it. More importantly, it gives a lot of other people an opportunity to pray over it also. So if it's unspoken, put that. If you want to reach out to me on one of my social media links and do that, that's awesome too. People do that also. So I really appreciate y'all's support. So let's get rolling here. Let's take a look at the satellite here. This is water vapor loop. It really tells us what the water content is in the air, how much moisture is in the air. And you can tell all these white areas is where basically you have a lot of moisture at the surface. You have a lot of convection popping off here. As this system continues to turn and move east, you have a lot of convection showers and storms popping off all the way down into northeast Texas. Another rainy morning for Arkansas, portions of southeast Missouri into the Ohio Valley. And this energy will continue to shift east. And then the atmosphere in this portion of the country will begin to destabilize. A little bit of daytime heating throughout the morning and early afternoon hours, and then some nasty storms will likely pop up in this area. There's also a chance for storms down here, and then a little bit of some sea breeze action going on in the Carolinas. We'll talk a little bit about that, but I don't expect really any severe weather off that. So let's get rolling here today. A slight risk up for portions of the Ohio Valley. This includes Ohio, areas of southwest Pennsylvania, including Pittsburgh, pretty much the northern and northwest border of West Virginia, the northern counties is what I meant to say, and then northern portions of Kentucky. Then you also have a marginal risk for severe weather in northern portions of North Carolina and southern portions of Virginia. This includes areas like Raleigh, Roanoke, almost up to Richmond, Virginia Beach. So be careful. Then you also have severe weather chances going all the way down throughout western Kentucky, northern areas of Mississippi, southern Arkansas, but I don't expect a big-time threat with this today, but we'll continue to watch this. The tornado threat has increased somewhat. Yesterday, throughout the day, the two videos I made, it was just a 2% risk. Now you're up to a 5% risk of a tornado in 25 miles in any given location in this very small brown area, including, I wouldn't really call it small. Ohio is a pretty decently big state if you compare it to all the other eastern U.S. states. But it pretty much covers up at least 50% of the state, the entire southern half of the state, including big cities like Columbus, Cincinnati, and places like that. And then you got the 2% risk of a tornado. Wind threat will probably be the biggest deal today as some isolated discrete cells pop up, but then quickly kind of congeal into maybe a line of storms. Damaging winds will probably be the biggest threat, but a 15% risk in this yellow area of 25 miles in any given location of damaging winds. Then you got the health threat too, which is pretty small today. Not really a big substantial health threat today at all. So let's talk about this as a whole, as a more broader look, and see how this is unfolding. Then we'll kind of narrow in on that area that has a slight risk in that tornado and damaging wind threat. But as we're going throughout, and let's back it up here, we're around lunchtime, 1 p.m., the atmosphere right here begins to destabilize. You got thunderstorms already developing here in Indiana. The atmosphere, as far as dynamic-wise, isn't really primed for anything significant severe weather-wise in Indiana. But just be careful. The early afternoon hours, Indianapolis, you could have some thunderstorms throughout the area. This will continue, and you're already starting to get ongoing thunderstorms, and basically anywhere in the state of Ohio, especially. But as far as severe thunderstorms, I really think the central to southern parts of the state will be the most prime for severe weather. But this will continue throughout the mid-afternoon hours. Watch out any cells that can get on their own, and I'll get a little closer here in a second, so hold with me. But you already got a big thunderstorm over here near Pittsburgh and southwest Pennsylvania. I think the further north you get, the more it just is just a blob of rain, and it's probably cooler temperatures up here in southeast Canada. But Down here in the warm and moist sector, these are some big time storms, and then they will quickly, watch out central Ohio, they will quickly kind of start to congeal into a line of storms as you get into the late afternoon, early evening hours around dinner time, and start to lose a little bit of steam. But you also got the storm development all the way down here in Florida, where you basically have the sea breeze storms popping up. You're starting to get to that time of the year down here in Florida where you start to get and see those summertime typical inland storms that blow up on the middle of the peninsula out there. But sea breeze storms pop up here, driven off that sea breeze, which causes that cool air, causes that convection to fire up, and kind of like outflow boundaries, if you will. And then you got some individual storms here in Virginia. But let's get a little bit closer to you folks in Ohio, and let's back it up a little bit. And really moving forward here throughout the day, and let's just go to the most previous run so we can get the updated information. We'll start this off this morning. You're already dealing with a little bit of rain in Ohio, but quickly, and let's make sure it goes in 1 hour intervals, not 2. Quickly, the atmosphere begins to destabilize, kind of like what happened in Oklahoma. As the energy shifts east, the atmosphere begins to destabilize. So we're looking at around late morning right now. We're getting into around lunchtime. Watch out central Ohio. You already have some big time storms capable of producing damaging winds, a quick spin up. Moving through central and southern Ohio, you got more storms moving out of southern Indiana. Watch out down here in northern Kentucky. The thermodynamics will probably be the best down here, but don't look too much at the dynamics right here. I really think this is actually what's going to unfold today, what the HRRR model is showing. But you notice there's nothing super discrete. No isolated cell, that kind of the same thing happened last night in Oklahoma. It didn't really materialize as bad as it could have been. In fact, I would say that it was probably on the lower end, but the HRRR model really nailed it. It said that, hey, there really wasn't going to be a massive outbreak of discrete cells, and there really wasn't. There was a couple discrete cells that quickly merged into a line of storms, so it didn't end up unfolding as bad as it could, which is really good news because the dynamics were there. But obviously they lessen as this trough continues to shift east. But, you're starting to get into mid-afternoon. Could have some big-time storms starting to enter eastern Ohio. And then, this won't be a one-round deal and done for a lot of folks. More storms will start to move from west to east. And then you'll start to get another line of storms that starts to move more into southern Ohio. And at the same time, as you're getting into the mid to late afternoon hours, watch out Pittsburgh. Damaging winds with this kind of Boeing segment of severe storms, maybe a line. It's going to be really broken up in nature. But that's kind of what makes this dangerous, is you're going to have probably a lot of rotation in these individual cells kind of embedded in this line of storms moving through northern Kentucky, multiple lines in Ohio, multiple threats and opportunities for a quick tornado. So watch out this area right here as this line of storms continues to get its act together. But then it will start to lose a little bit of steam once you start to lose that daytime heating. But you will still have ongoing showers and storms, even in Ohio. But after this, a little bit more stable air moves in. But this will continue to move into West Virginia and start to make its way into even Virginia a little bit later and start to weaken. But for my Virginia folks here, if I can actually find the Virginia thing here. In fact, I don't think they actually have one, which is always unfortunate here. Let me look at North Carolina here. For my folks up here in Virginia and North Carolina, well, down here, same kind of situation. Just watch out a little bit later throughout the afternoon with some daytime heating. It is going to be pretty steamy in the southeast for early May standards. In fact, you already see these afternoon showers and storms popping up from that daytime heating. You're going to have the cape around, but of course you don't have a lot of the other dynamics here to promote severe weather. This is going to be more so a summer type pattern where you have the big time bubbling up of storms that really pop up and then quickly fall apart within an hour or two or less. But to watch out in this area, I really think there'll be some showers and storms that start to enter the southern apps a little bit later this evening for sure. So just be careful for sure. But we're really focusing in on Ohio. This is what we call updraft felicity swath. So just because you see this doesn't mean there's going to be a tornado in this area. So just because you see that, don't think, okay, well, you're going to have a tornado outbreak in Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. No. This tells us that, hey, the updrafts, these storms could be spinning, and it's going to be favored in this area right here. That's why you have that 5% chance of a tornado in this region. So it tells us, hey, just be careful. watch out, have a way to get warnings. If you're under a tornado warning, it may not necessarily mean that there's a tornado on the ground. It could. It could just mean it's radar indicated. A lot of times when the National Weather Service issues, and even the local people issue these tornado warnings, you'll show it in the description if it's radar indicated or if it's confirmed. There's other severe stages of that too, like a life-threatening situation, things like that. But anyways, just know that, these storms could be spinning in the Ohio Valley today. So, be careful of a tornado threat for sure, as these updrafts could have a spin to them. But as far as temperatures for today, sorry, my nose is itching like crazy right now for whatever reason. The trough has moved through this area. You're getting into May now. When these cold fronts move through, these late season cold fronts, they don't really do a whole lot. They just cool it down to the 40s and 50s. But you got some nagging cold air, up here. I know your guys are probably ready to warm up now that we're getting into May, but you're going to be locked in the 40s and 50s up here, northern areas of Michigan. I got a loyal listener in up here in this area of Michigan that listens in every morning. I really appreciate you, because a lot of times I jump right over your region. But anyways, you're going to be pretty chilly today, probably 40s for highs, but 40s and 50s for the middle of the country, the Midwest, the Corn Belt regions and things like that, all the way to the Southern Plains, same area that got a lot of intense heating yesterday, will be kind of chilly today, more just a typical spring day. But in the Southeast, the Mid-Atlantic, 80s and even 90-degree temperatures and humid air. I'm talking about dew points into the 70s, but it is going to feel a little steamy out there. You're actually going to want to hope that it rains a little bit. And then the Northeast is starting to warm up a little bit. You guys are finally starting to get influenced by this warmer air today. So for sure, definitely a warm day across the South especially. And these are dew points. You can really tell that, it's pretty humid. It's going to be humid throughout the day. I'm just stopped at about mid-morning today across the eastern U.S. and dew points are well into the 60s as a moist sector begins to build into the Ohio Valley ahead of this severe weather threat that really sets the tone here. But some moist air, nothing too crazy, but you definitely are starting to get into May where on average you're dealing with a little bit more humid air. And then when you get into June, you pretty much lock into that tropical air mass for the foreseeable future until you get fall again in the South. But across the western U.S., for my folks out here that do listen in, you've got a system that's pivoting through this portion of the western U.S. This is bringing mountain snow. It's bringing its own cold air. So there's an area of cold air aloft and at the surface locked in right here, associated with this upper trough that's pivoting through these cutoff lows, upper trough. They bring their own cold air. So therefore the mountain levels as far as the snow levels have dropped in this region of Idaho, areas of Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming, Utah. So expect some moisture in this portion of the country. This low pressure pivots in and then sets the stage for our severe weather threat down here. And in fact, it's already influencing down here deep in Texas, where I really think way down here in Texas, you guys could have some nasty supercells later this evening. In fact, if anybody chooses to chase this area, they might be in for a treat for if you're a storm chaser, for a big-time photogenic storm around the Texas-Mexico border down here. I really think some big-time hail producers can form down there, but we'll see how that happens here. But other than that, you can see the rain-cooled air, influenced by this upper trough. But around it, you're warming into the 60s into Montana. Basically, anywhere around this area of cold air, you're warming to above average temperatures and nice, pleasant late spring temperatures for sure. But all eyes begin to focus in on tomorrow. Well, you're having another enhanced risk up. Will this upgrade to a moderate? We'll talk a little bit about this tonight. But enhanced risk already up for those regions. And then you look at day 3 and a very large enhanced risk up for Arkansas. So for my folks in Arkansas, we'll talk a little bit about Thursday tonight. And remember, guys, I'm heading to the beach Thursday, so I won't have frequent updates on this. I won't, but I will upgrade you leading up to this as much as possible. I promise you that. And then we're already looking ahead to another threat of severe weather at day 6, which is next Sunday, and then day 7, which is next Monday, as there's a lot of model guidance is coming together somewhat that, hey, there is going to be a severe weather threat here. So we'll continue to watch this, how this unfolds. But that's all I got, guys. Y'all have a great Tuesday. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll talk to y'all this evening.